So what actually happens when you lock two complete strangers in a white cube for 100 days with $500,000 on the line? Well, today, we're going to break down the intense psychology behind what might be one of Mr. Beast's most grueling social experiments ever.
And it all starts with the hook, right? A staggering $500,000. I mean, that's the kind of money that makes people push their absolute limits, which is exactly what this challenge was designed to do.
The challenge sounds simple on the surface, but believe me, it is psychologically brutal. All they have to do is survive for 100 days trapped inside this massive, sterile, white cube.
And, oh yeah, to make it even harder, the two contestants, Bailey and Susie, are complete strangers. They have never met before in their entire lives. And now, their fates are completely, totally intertwined.
Okay, so let's get into it. How does a journey like this even start? Well, it's not with a bang, that's for sure. It's with the deafening silence of a white room, where monotony and just pure isolation quickly become their biggest enemies.
You know, the rules were just perfectly designed for maximum psychological pressure. Think about it. Constant glaring lights, 24/7. That immediately messes with your sense of time. And that all-or-nothing clause, it meant they had to rely completely on a total stranger. No pressure, right? And it didn't take long. I mean, within the first week, the boredom became this tangible force. They went from getting creative, making playing cards, to just absurd entertainment, like whipping pork at vegetables. And then they started literally toying with the red line that would cost them everything. It just goes to show how quickly the human mind desperately seeks stimulation, even if that stimulation is, self-destructive.
And this quote from Susie just perfectly captures that mental fatigue setting in. This wasn't just, oh, I'm bored. No, this was a profound lack of stimulation that was already starting to seriously wear them down.
Okay, so just as that monotony was becoming absolutely unbearable, the challenge shifted gears. Every 10 days, Mr. Beast throws in a new element, temptation. And look, these choices weren't just about comfort. They were specifically designed to test their partnership and to chip away at their resolve.
So the first big test comes on day 10, after what I can only imagine were days of the most bland, repetitive meals they get an offer. A private chef for the entire remaining 90 days. I mean, that's a huge comfort, but it comes with a huge price.
And you know what? Remarkably, they turned it down. At this early stage, the goal was crystal clear, right? Maximize the prize money. So they formed this early alliance built on financial discipline. But yeah, we'll see how long that lasts.
So you start to see a clear pattern emerging here. They kept rejecting these big, impersonal luxuries. But the things that finally broke their resolve, they were the small human comforts, a simple cup of coffee to break up the day, and the incredibly powerful emotional pull of seeing family. It really shows that their breaking points weren't about luxury at all, but about deep psychological and emotional needs.
All right, then we get to day 60, and they're hit with a pure gamble, a mystery box. The price tag? A steep $50,000. What's inside? It could be anything, or it could be absolutely nothing.
So after a pretty tense debate, their risk aversion wins out. They chose the certainty of the money they already had over the completely unknown potential of the box. Seems like a smart, financially prudent decision, right? Well, or so they thought.
And this is where their caution just backfired spectacularly. The box didn't just have their money back inside, it also had two brand new Teslas. Can you imagine? The psychological blow of that missed opportunity had to be immense. It created this sense of regret that would just hang over them for days. So on day 70, probably still reeling from that whole Tesla mistake, they finally decide to spend big. They bid over $100,000 for this massive luxury package. But as they were about to find out, all that comfort, it just created an entirely new kind of problem.
It's so ironic, right? Having more things to do didn't unite them at all. In fact, it drove a huge wedge between them. See, once their basic needs were met, their fundamental personality differences just came roaring to the surface. You had Bailey with his relentless energy, which was just grating on Susie's need for some peace and quiet. It basically turned their luxury suite into a social pressure cooker.
And all that constant proximity, all that friction, it pushed Susie to her absolute limit. I mean, even with the finish line right there in sight, the social exhaustion was becoming just as hard to deal with as the initial boredom ever was.
So,
After 99 days of shared struggle, mutual annoyance, and this really unbreakable codependence, they were completely blindsided by one final, brutal test on day 100.
And it's the classic prisoner's dilemma. The choice is simple, but it's agonizing. They could either trust each other and split the remaining money, or one of them could try to steal the entire pot. But there's a huge risk. If the other person also tries to steal, they both walk away with absolutely nothing. And Bailey, well, he didn't even try to hide his temptation. The thought of doubling his winnings, that was a powerful, powerful force. And it put 100 days of their partnership right on a knife's edge.
And this made even Susie, who seemed totally committed to splitting, start to feel the pressure. Bailey's hesitation created this feedback loop of doubt, and it just made those final moments incredibly tense.
But in the end, with literally everything on the line, the room turned green. They both chose to split. After 100 days of friction and forced partnership, trust actually won out over greed.
So yeah, they each walked away with nearly $200,000, which is amazing. But the experiment leaves us with this bigger question, doesn't it? After all that isolation and temptation, is a bond that's forged in hardship stronger than the allure of individual wealth? Maybe the real prize wasn't the money at all, but that hard-won trust they built. It kind of proves that even in the most artificial circumstances, a bond forged in shared hardship can be, well, priceless.